Welcome to the ramblings of the FreeWi, and that stands for French and Kiwi, and that's me. I'm your host, Jean-Philippe DIEL. In this podcast, I document my entrepreneurship journey with SymbionIQ. That's SymbionIQ with an I and a Q at the end. I talk about the latest technology trends. I talk about health and fitness wearables, the Metaverse, Web3, the blockchain, NFTs. I talk about, most importantly, data privacy and ownership, which I think are critical in that space. So if you're interested in what we're doing, please subscribe and click like to help the algorithm up. And without further ado, let's dive in. Hi everybody, welcome back to this new episode of SymbionIQ, the podcast on health and fitness in the Metaverse. I just wanted to come back on what we're trying to build, just to give you a bit of a sense on the scope of the work and what's involved in delivering those goals. And SymbionIQ is really a lab where we want to experiment with technology, and we're sort of at the border of biomechanics, bioengineering, and sort of neuroscience as well, nutrition. We're interested in every single of those disciplines when they sort of intersect with well-being and sort of achieving better performance, enhancing humans, as we call it. So in this particular case, we're talking about making the perfect movement. Now, making the perfect movement has been something quite central to Pilates, for example. It's been quite central to martial arts, if you think of martial arts. And it's been quite central to high-performance athletes who are, in athletics, or it's about getting the right pace, the right form. And it's quite central to dance as well, where actually I did find a lot of inspiration in dance. And the reason I found inspiration in dance is because they were probably one of the first disciplines to actually try to solve this challenge of how do I teach someone else another dance without necessarily being in the room with them. And we're talking of choreography, obviously. And I think this goes back to my research. There's a couple of, or maybe 3 different systems that have been used, variations on systems that have been used in the past. The most famous one has been elaborated by a gentleman called Mr. Laban, and it's the Laban notation. Now, the Laban notation has been the core of my inspiration in solving this problematic. The Laban notation is the music score for the dancer, and so basically it's a list of symbols and a notation mechanic on how to represent movement. And obviously movement is complex by definition, and we're all different. We all have different bodies, different capabilities. Our joint angles are not all they're standardized. Our muscles are not all standardized. Some people are more flexible than others. Some people are not. There are different body types. So how do you take that complexity and boil it down to a common denominator that is simple enough but accurate, or sort of common enough to be able to represent a choreography or a movement sequence, and have it retranslated by someone else and re-executed by someone else. It's not a simple task. And the lab annotation introduced a few interesting concepts like the kinesphere, which is basically this cloud of points which you can reach with every single part of your body. And I think for me, one of the key things has been to look at relative addressing, like from your core or your center of gravity to every single part of your body, limbs and extremities, etc. And then apply a, how to explain that? Apply a key that helps you translating from different body types. So a key for arm length might be a ratio. Some people have their elbow this far away from their shoulder and their wrist this far away from their elbow. Some people have it shorter, some people have it longer. But if we observe in nature that the arm length average goes from there to there, elbow height goes from there to there, shoulder height from there to there, and the wrist is this much from the elbow, then it's not so hard of a problem to solve anymore. And same for joint angles. If you know joint angles are these range, then we know we're at X% of the range. And so then we can calculate. If you bring people back to an average, then you can bring back all the point clouds to a common denominator. And so that's the gist of what we're trying to crack here. We're trying to make sure we can convert a movement by a tall and skinny dude into a movement by a short and fat guy, in a nutshell. So that when the algorithm looks at both movements, the AI or whatever is involved in there can then say with confidence, yes, it is the same movement, but then here are the variations that are salient in that movement. Here are the parts where there needs to be some work. Now, the work in question might be out of reach. It might be you don't have the right body type, you don't have the right muscle structure, you don't have the right joint flexibility. But you can say with confidence that you've tried the best of your ability in that space. So you've extended that joint best of what you can, and that is sometimes good enough, because things don't happen over time. Things don't happen overnight. They happen over time. And so when you're exercising, when you're looking for that perfect movement, and when you're trying to train those muscles, well, slowly, you were actually going to get there. But you need to know where your weak points are and where you need to train. And so that's what the solution needs to bring you. The solution needs to bring you a way to visualize that movement in a very simple and explicit way. So when you look at it, you go, wow, yes, I get it. And then it needs to show the areas where you're a little bit far away from the perfect movement. Perfect movement, which was calculated from the reference movement that was done by a tall and skinny dude. And it's somewhere in between what the tall and skinny dude did and the short and fat guy is going to do. That perfect movement is in between somewhere. it's like an isometric reference. By isometric, I mean it's been sort of brought back to a median average, and then you can start looking at deviations. That's the gist of what we're trying to build here, and then the challenges are around representation, graphic representation of that. How do we produce a 3D interface that's going to deliver on that? So there you go. That's what we're struggling with. So struggling, probably not the right word. That's what we are having to deal with. But love a challenge, and this is really exciting. So thank you for watching this small video, and just hang around. We'll keep you posted. Thanks a lot for watching. If you want to find out more, please go to SymbionIQ.com. There you'll find all the socials and the different ways you can follow us. In the meanwhile, I would really appreciate if you could subscribe, help the algorithm up by clicking like. And if you want to make some comments, please don't hesitate. I'll try to read everything and answer everyone. If you find this interesting, don't hesitate to share it with a colleague or a friend. That always helps spread the word. And that's all for me today. So see you in the next episode.